my Christmas greetings to my family for 1975. I was born March the 8th, 1899. My father was John Mason Cloward, and my mother was Stacy Lee Stone. Grandpa was born November the 1st, 1891. His father was James Jordan Davis, and his mother was Harriet Matilda Kelsey. We were married January the 7th, 1920, in the Salt Lake Temple, and celebrated our golden wedding anniversary January the 10th, 1970. We've lived here in the old home in Salem all our married life. We have 3 children, Clea, Ronald, and Aline. We have 8 grandchildren and 10 great-grandchildren. Every Christmas Eve, Grandma would tell this story to the little ones, so I will tell it to you. The Little Match Boy. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Tommy. Now, Tommy wasn't as fortunate as most little boys. His mother and daddy had died and left him with no home and no one to take care of him. So he just had to shift for himself. He was a good little boy, but no one paid much attention to him because he was always dirty and his clothes were ragged. He just lived in the streets of this big city doing a few errands for people, making enough so he could buy matches and sell them on the street. It was getting cold. Winter was here and snow was on the ground, and the feel of Christmas was in the air. The streets were decorated and beautiful lights everywhere. Christmas carols playing in all the stores. This really made Tommy wish he had a home and someone to care for him. At night he would go back of the stores and crawl into some little place to try and get out of the wind and snow. It was the day before Christmas. Everyone was hurrying in and out of the stores and up and down the streets during their last-minute shopping. Children with their parents were laughing and so happy. Tommy watched them and wished he could be happy too. It was starting to get dark, and Santa Claus was to come on a big sleigh with his reindeers and throw candy to the children. The streets were lined with people, and Tommy could hear them saying, "Here comes Santa Claus." All the children ran out to see him, but Tommy was pushed back, so he never got any candy. As soon as the parade was over, people started going home, and soon the streets were almost empty. Tommy had a few cents in his pocket and decided he would go in a place and buy him a donut and see if he could stay long enough to get warm. So he did, and he sat down on a bench. In a few minutes, the owner of the store told him that he would have to close and have to leave. As Tommy stepped out of the cold, he wondered what he was going to do. He decided he would walk up the street and look into the homes and see the trees and decorations people were putting up as their shades were almost open. He walked and walked. Finally, there was one home which looked special. So he stopped and walked up to the window. There wasn't anyone in the room, but there was a fire in the fireplace and a beautiful Christmas tree with packages and packages piled under it. He stood looking, but he was getting so cold, he decided to go around to the back of the house. Maybe it would be warmer. He went around, and the back door was ajar, and he could feel the warmth coming through the door, also the smell of food cooking. It made him so hungry, he crowded closer to the door, and it came open. He thought it wouldn't hurt for him to just step inside a minute to get warm because there wasn't anyone around. So before he realized what he was doing, he walked to the room where the Christmas tree was. He could hear people laughing and talking upstairs. So he kept going until he was up to the top of the stairs, and as he stood there, he could see a little boy kneeling by his mother, who was sitting on the bed. As he listened, he could hear her telling him the story of the Star of Bethlehem and Jesus being born in the manger. He was so interested, he forgot what he was doing or where he was, until a little boy looked up and saw him, and it scared him, so he screamed out, and Tommy thought he better not run, or they would think he was a thief trying to steal something. The mother turned around, and when she saw Tommy, she asked what he was doing there. Tommy told her he knew he shouldn't have come in, but he was so cold and hungry he just couldn't help it. The little boy said, "Mommy, let him stay and have Christmas with us." They took him in and gave him a bath and some clean clothes and put him to bed. When the two little boys were in bed, the mother called Santa Claus and told him she had an extra little boy at her house, and she asked Santa to bring him the same toys and things her little boy had ordered. So Christmas morning, there was two happy little boys. Tommy had found him a new home, and the mother decided to keep Tommy so he could have a brother. And they all had a wonderful Christmas and lived happy ever after.